Have you ever felt like your life is stuck in a loop, repeating the same patterns, facing the same obstacles, yet never getting anywhere? It's as if no matter how hard you try, things always seem to come back to square one. The truth is, you're not alone. Most people go through life trapped in repetitive cycles. But what if I told you these cycles aren't your enemy? What if they're part of a deeper truth about human existence? The philosopher Hegel suggested that life is inherently cyclical, full of contradictions and struggles. These struggles aren't meaningless. They are part of a process that leads to growth and evolution. Understanding this might be the key to unlocking the freedom you seek. Life, in its cyclical nature, forces us to confront our own limitations, to challenge our assumptions, and to ask profound questions about who we are and why we keep repeating these patterns. The cycle isn't a trap, it's a pathway, a process that can guide us to something greater. But why do we find ourselves caught in these cycles? It's because often we approach life with the belief that there's a right way to live, a path that leads to happiness, success, and fulfillment. We reflect, overanalyze, and try to make sense of everything. But instead of bringing clarity, this overthinking keeps us stuck in the very cycle we're trying to escape. By the end of this journey, you'll understand why these cycles exist and how to embrace them as a tool for transformation. Let's take a moment to reflect on something most of us are guilty of: overthinking. We often assume that the more we reflect on our problems, the more clarity we'll gain, and the quicker we'll find a way out. But in reality, excessive reflection often traps us in the cycle even more. It's a paradox. The harder we try to solve our problems with endless analysis, the more we seem to become stuck. Overthinking keeps us in a state of inertia. We dwell on the what-ifs, maybes, and what could have been, never fully engaging with the present. The more we reflect on the past and the future, the less we actually live in the here and now. And it's in the present moment where real change occurs. By constantly analyzing and dissecting our thoughts, we detach from the reality we're experiencing and lose touch with the power we have to make choices in the moment. Hegel argued that true understanding doesn't come from endless analysis. In fact, the constant process of thinking, reflecting, and reasoning often leads to more confusion, rather than clarity. True change comes when we shift our focus from endless thinking to action. When we act, even if imperfectly, we break the cycle of overanalysis. It's through engaging with life, rather than just reflecting on it, that we begin to move forward. The paradox here is that excessive thinking, rather than helping us make better decisions, actually prevents us from moving forward. It creates a mental trap that keeps us stuck in the same patterns. To break free from the cycle, we must learn to embrace action and presence, rather than getting lost in endless reflection. To understand why we find ourselves in these cycles, we need to dive into the philosophy of Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. Hegel's ideas about life and the world revolve around the notion of dialectics, the process through which contradictions and oppositions lead to change. In Hegelian terms, life isn't linear, it's cyclical, and each cycle contains its own contradictions. These contradictions are not flaws or problems to be fixed. Instead, they are necessary components of growth and development. For Hegel, progress comes from the clash of opposing forces. Life is a process of constant tension between what we want and what we have, between what we believe and what we experience. These contradictions push us to evolve, to resolve tensions, and to move toward a higher state of being. But this doesn't happen in a straight line. It's not a simple progression from one step to another. Instead, progress is cyclical, where every resolution creates new contradictions that force us to face new challenges. The cycle is essential because it represents the ongoing process of development. Each time we face a contradiction, it's an opportunity to grow. But growth doesn't come easily. It requires a confrontation with the tensions and contradictions that arise within us and the world around us. This cycle of contradiction and resolution repeats itself, but each time, it takes us closer to a higher form of understanding and being. When you find yourself stuck in a cycle, it may seem like nothing is changing. But, in reality, you're undergoing a process of internal transformation. The cycle isn't a trap, it's the way in which you evolve. Hegel's philosophy teaches us that the contradictions we face are part of a larger process that leads to deeper self-awareness and understanding. The cycle is not a limitation, it's the mechanism of progress. Once we realize that the cycle is not our enemy, we can start to see it for what it truly is, a pathway to transformation. It's easy to think of cycles as prisons, places where we feel trapped, unable to move forward. But if we shift our perspective, we can view cycles as opportunities for growth. Each repetition of a cycle offers us the chance to gain new insights, to make different choices, and to approach situations from a new angle. Every time we encounter a similar challenge, we have the opportunity to apply the wisdom we've gained from the previous experience. This is the heart of transformation, learning from the past without being bound to it. The cycle becomes a tool for self-awareness, not a trap. But transformation isn't always easy. It requires us to step into the unknown, to embrace uncertainty, and to take risks. It's through the act of engaging with the cycle, rather than avoiding it, that we can experience true change. The more we resist, the more we stay stuck. When we accept the cycle for what it is, we begin to see it as an ally, guiding us toward a more evolved version of ourselves. By changing the way we perceive and respond to the cycles in our lives, we open up a new realm of possibilities. We no longer view life's challenges as obstacles, but as opportunities to learn, grow, and evolve. The cycle itself becomes the source of our transformation, as we learn to navigate it with greater awareness and intention. So far, we've explored how cycles are a natural part of life and how they can lead to transformation. But there's one more crucial step to breaking free from feeling stuck: acceptance. It's only through acceptance that we can truly begin to understand and integrate the lessons these cycles offer. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It doesn't mean giving up or settling for less than what we want. Instead, it means acknowledging reality as it is, without judgment. When we resist what is, we waste energy trying to change things we cannot control. Acceptance, on the other hand, frees us from this resistance. It opens the door to deeper understanding and insight. Hegel's dialectical process emphasizes that every stage in life is part of a larger movement of evolution. And just as we cannot skip the contradictions, we cannot skip the stage of acceptance. Accepting the cycle, with all its challenges and contradictions, allows us to move through it with greater ease. It allows us to make peace with where we are, and from that place of peace, we can take more empowered action. Understanding is the next step. When we understand the reasons behind the cycles we're experiencing, we can move from merely surviving them to thriving within them. Each cycle becomes an opportunity to learn more about ourselves, our desires, and the world around us. Understanding deepens our capacity to act with wisdom and clarity, leading us to a place of greater freedom. In the previous chapters, we've learned about the nature of cycles and how they can be transformative. But none of this matters unless we take action. The key to creating lasting change within the cycle is to move beyond reflection and truly engage with life. Action is the bridge between understanding and transformation. It's through action that we test our insights and put them into practice. But it's not just about taking random action. It's about deliberate, thoughtful action that aligns with our deeper understanding of ourselves and the cycles we're in. The act of choosing to act, even when things feel uncertain or challenging, is what creates sustainable transformation. Every action you take within the cycle brings you closer to the life you desire. And even when things don't go as planned, the act of engaging with the process, of learning and growing through it, shifts the energy of the cycle itself. Action doesn't always have to be grand or dramatic. Sometimes, it's the small, consistent steps that create the most lasting change. The important thing is to keep moving forward, even when it feels like you're not making progress. The cycle is not about perfection. It's about continuous evolution. At the end of our journey, we arrive at a simple yet profound truth. True freedom was never outside of you. It was never something you could achieve by merely breaking cycles or overcoming external obstacles. Freedom is within you, in the way you relate to your own patterns, your choices, and most importantly, the cycles of your life. The cycle was never the enemy. It is an intrinsic part of the human existence process. And instead of trying to flee from it or break it, true revolution happens when you learn to dance with it. Each repetition of the cycle is an opportunity for transformation. And transformation doesn't happen in a single moment of epiphany, but in the continuous process of being present, accepting, understanding, and acting within the circumstances of your own life. Therefore, freedom is not in trying to escape repetition, but in changing how you relate to it. Freedom is not the absence of cycles, but the ability to realize that, even within them, you have the power to choose how to react, how to position yourself, how to act. Every time you respond with greater awareness, greater wisdom, and more alignment with your values, you expand your freedom. With every cycle, you become freer, more authentic, and more connected to your inner truth. But this requires courage. The courage to look within and face the contradictions, fears, and patterns that keep us stuck. The courage to, instead of resisting, accept what is, and from that acceptance, act in ways that foster true transformation. It's not about changing everything at once. It's about small daily choices that, when added up, create a powerful movement toward a fuller, more conscious life. The process of transformation, therefore, is not linear. It is dialectical, as Hegel taught us. It is the contradictions and the failures that, when understood and accepted, guide us to evolution. Each failure, each moment of repetition, is an opportunity to grow, to expand our awareness, and to break free from the limitations we impose on ourselves. As you begin to free yourself from the cycle, you realize that it wasn't an obstacle, but an opportunity. An opportunity to deepen your understanding of yourself and the world around you. And at the moment you realize that true freedom is an internal state, not something you need to conquer or achieve, but something you simply choose to experience, you reach a profound peace, the kind that comes from knowing that you are in control of your own journey. Therefore, freedom is not in breaking the cycles. It is in embracing them fully and using them to shape your life on your own terms. The journey of acceptance, understanding, and action within cycles guides us to a freer and more authentic life. If this content resonated with you, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more reflections that can transform your life.